I want you to imagine the following scenario. You're watching TV on your couch and you decide to turn the Uber app on just to see if there's some activity going on Uber Eats. Uber Eats sends you a bunch of crap on Trip Radar and just a bunch of low-paying offers. You tell yourself you're not getting off your couch unless you see an offer that's in the double digits. Eventually one comes through and you decide to get off your butt and do the delivery. Everything seems fine and dandy until you check your earnings about an hour later, and then you see that the amount you were paid is different from the amount that was on the screen when you accepted the request. Congratulations, you have been tip-baited. I hate to say that this scenario isn't made up for the sake of this video. It's based on a true story because it happened to yours truly. In the case you're wondering, oh, I already know the tip-baiting process because I've seen a previous video on it, the process unfortunately has changed. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hello everyone, this is Elijah with the Rideshare Guy, and I really do hope in the future that anyone watching this video never experiences the pain of being tip-baited, but chances are if you're here, it's already happened to you, or you're just being preventative and you just want to know the process just in case it happens, because if you keep driving for Uber Eats, eventually you are going to be tip-baited. Just a little background information on the subject matter. Zach has actually made an excellent video on tip-baiting on the Rideshare Guy before, and I highly recommend you watch his video after this one because he breaks down the details of exactly what tip-baiting is and why in some situations maybe it makes sense. And he also gives an alternative process as far as how this scenario should be handled if a driver does do something shady in regards to delivering the food, instead of the customer being able to just remove the tip after the food has already been delivered, because that process leads to scenarios we have here. But with that being said, information is always changing. It's always been updated. So some of the information given in that video in regards to how to get compensated for the difference between what you did get paid and what was on the screen when you accepted the request has changed. That's why we're making this video. But first, we got to actually go into exactly what happened and how did I get tip-baited, because it is a little unique in regards to just the typical tip-baiting situation. So like I said in the intro of the video, I already set my limit that I'm not going to get off my couch unless the offer is for $10 or more. An offer came in, or a request rather, for $11.03. That was enough to get me off my butt. So I got off my butt, I was already ready to go, and drove to the restaurant, picked up the food. And when I got to the drop-off location, this building was a 10-story multifamily building, and the instructions said to meet outside. That's all fine and dandy, except for no one was there outside. I circled the building 3 times, and there was no apartment number to get out and deliver it to, nor was there any door code instructions, because you can't gain access to this particular building without a certain code. So I called the customer 3 times, and I texted them 3 times saying, hey, I'm here, where do you want to meet me? Nothing. So I did what anyone has to do in this situation. I just waited the 8 minutes that would need to be waited in order for me to be paid for this delivery. As soon as you call the customer, if you're in a certain proximity, the timer is automatically started. The timer eventually ran out, and Uber Eats instructed me to leave the food in a safe place. But exactly what safe place can I leave it given the situation? All there is meet outside, there's no apartment number, and there's no way to even enter the building. So the only thing I could do is take a picture of the food in front of the leasing office, which is closed by the way, because it was around 6:30 p.m., and keep it moving. I had this feeling that the customer was going to remove the tip afterwards. So I was just ready to go ahead and follow the process that Zach outlined in his video, which again, I highly recommend you check out. The link will be provided in the description for y'all. So about an hour passes, and just like I predicted, this person lowered the tip, or I shouldn't say lowered, they removed the tip after the delivery was, complete. So as Zach puts it in his video, I was prepared to go full Karen mode and get my money back, because literally I told myself I wasn't getting off my couch for anything under $10, and I got paid $3.93. Yeah, that's just not gonna fly. And in case you're wondering what the process is, you basically have to contact support and get on the phone with a supervisor and explain that you've been tip-baited and you expect to be compensated the full amount for that order. When doing this, you should be polite but very direct and use terminology such as the customer violated the contract and I expect to be paid in full for what I'm owed for fulfilling my end of the contract. In the beginning, you just get some typical agent, but once you make it known that you expect to be paid, and they go back and forth, give you a bunch of stuff about how tipping isn't mandatory and all this, you eventually ask to speak to a supervisor. At first, they're going to resist by saying, oh, that's not necessary or whatever. But when you insist, you'll eventually get a supervisor, because the supervisor is a person that can actually make the change and compensate you what you're owed, not the person that you initially contact, which is just a support agent. So I contacted support to go ahead and follow the process of getting in contact with a supervisor. Regardless, I do have the phone number for phone support, so I decided to call it, and this happened. Unfortunately, when I called Uber Eats support, I was told via an automated message that Uber Eats no longer has phone support and that a ticket will be automatically generated inside the app and to go there to address my issue. Sup everyone. So I'm actually glad to report that I was able to verify that Uber Eats has brought back their phone support. However, I've seen their phone support disappear for as long as 3 weeks, where when you click on support, phone support just says unavailable. If phone support is down for whatever reason, you could use this process. So let's go ahead and move on with the video. This whole process is very contingent on you being on the phone so you can talk to a supervisor. What do I do? So I decided to go ahead and use the live chat option, and then I entered live chat hell. I mean, I literally was going back and forth with them for like an hour. Of course, I'm not going to just tell you about them. We have some screenshots. Let's see what I went through. So this is the support thread, the live chat support thread of me and Uber's support, or Uber's support, if you will. So I'm going to scroll through here, and I'm not going to read every single little thing because I don't want to bore you, because I didn't get the outcome that I wanted from doing this via live chat. So I told them that I selected earnings and payment and then get more help. Eventually got a live agent and explained to them that I didn't receive full payment for delivery that I did. After saying that, the support agent looked into it and then said this after looking into it. As I can check, the estimate for this trip was $11.03, including any upfront tip, but the customer reduced the tip after delivery. Customers have 1 hour after delivery to edit or change their tip, so it takes time for the tip to appear in your trip details. Then I told them that if this is the case, the customer violated the contract that is between me and him by changing the amount of money paid after the work was done. I need to speak to a manager in the driver's payments department. And then they started the typical pushback you would get, which is the whole, I know you're upset and all that stuff. So we're not going to go through every single conversation, because I literally went through 3 agents that didn't get the result that I was looking for. But I do want to actually show this because I found this interesting. And the second agent that I talked to, they did say, I understand your concern, Elijah. Tip bailing, which I'm assuming they meant tip baiting, isn't what you expect working hard for your customers. So that tells me that this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem as time goes on, because tip baiting is a driver terminology. The only way they would be privy of that is if people have been using it as they've contacted support about this issue. So it's just more evidence that they really need to address this tip baiting, or tip bailing as they say it, which is actually kind of fitting too, because the customer is bailing on the tip that they put initially in there. But yeah, don't ever try live chat. It's literally a waste of time. So after going through 3 support agents and having the exact same result as you saw on our live chat hell section, I decided, you know what, let me try something different. I'm going to do the send a message function and see if I can get a different outcome that way. So this is my support thread that came from sending Uber a message instead, not using the live chat support. So I went through the normal process, which I've outlined several times in this video. I selected earnings and payment. I need more help. And this is important. When it says, how would you like to connect with an agent? Select send a message. Don't select live chat. So I let them know that I should have been paid $11.03. And then they gave me the typical stuff. Then I let them know the same thing. The customer violated the contract by changing the payout of the delivery after the work was done. Please escalate this issue to your supervisor. I will need to speak to him or her about the issue. Then scrolling down, they actually say the typical driver stuff. We understand the driver experience, blah, 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 blah. But here's the important part. I would like you to speak to the supervisor over the phone, which is awesome. Let me assist you with this. In order to speak to a supervisor over the phone, you'll need to first access the phone support option through your app. Select the Help tab, then click the blue phone icon on the top right-hand corner of the app. After that, your call will be connected with the available supervisor. So let's actually back out of this real quick and go to the help screen that they're talking about. Do y'all see a phone icon? No, it's not here. But after scrolling down, I told them that I'll follow the instructions, but there is no phone icon. Is there another way to access phone support so I can speak to a supervisor? I asked that because apparently the supervisor will have to call me since I don't have the option to call any kind of support. And I get this message saying, "Hi, this is Carmela, one of the dedicated supervisors from Uber customer support team. I acknowledge that a phone call would be the ideal way to address your concern. However, due to the restrictions of business hours, I'm currently unable to make phone calls." This actually makes sense because by the time this happened, it was 11:51 p.m. Scrolling down, she's apologizing, but she's also saying tipping's not mandatory, blah, 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 blah. But she says, as a supervisor, we value your hard work. I'll go ahead and add something that's going to make up for it. Please expect to receive $25 that will be available on your earnings. Please take this as a token of our appreciation. And after all that, I actually did end up getting compensated a little more than what the delivery was worth, which is $11.03. But I think it's because on some level, the supervisor knew that I went through live chat hell and decided to compensate me more, or it's because they knew compensating me more would shut me up, which they were right. So in short, the process for how to get compensated if you do get tip baited has changed because phone support on Uber Eats apparently isn't a thing at the moment. And you definitely don't want to use the live chat function because that is a dead end. I mean, that's an hour of my life I am never getting back. With that being said, that concludes this video. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below or any stories in regards to tip baiting, because unfortunately, tip baiting has not been addressed on a larger scale by Uber Eats as of right now. I mean, in a perfect world, I would just like to see where you can change the tip after the delivery, but you can only increase it. The option to decrease it just shouldn't even be there. And to balance the scales, if any drivers are doing anything shady as far as like not delivering food or something like that, there should just be a mark on their accounts to get them deactivated. The option to take away the tip, that's just a silly way of dealing with stuff like that. It should be a mark on their accounts so that if it happens again, they get deactivated. That way bad drivers aren't out there doing shady stuff with the delivery. But at the same time, good drivers aren't punished for customers that are essentially scamming the system to try and get their food delivered quick because a high tip, usually people take that fast and they'll get their food faster. It's just unacceptable. I think that's a good balance between both perspectives. But that's just my thoughts and opinion on the matter. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comment section. And if you're looking for additional videos on how to maximize your money with Uber Eats, be sure to check out our Uber Eats playlist that's linked on our end screen following this video. This has been Elijah with the Rideshare Guy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Be safe and be profitable, everyone.